Welcome to Finance Deep Dive. Today, we're tracking the money behind one of the biggest economic shifts in, well, history, the move to a green economy. It's a massive, global reshuffling of capital, and in this video, we are gonna follow the dollars. So, let's kick things off with the big question, the one that's really at the heart of this whole thing. Is this green transition a costly burden we just have to bear, or is it a massive opportunity, maybe even the next great global boom? Stick with me because by the end of this, we're gonna have a pretty clear answer. So just how big are we talking here? Get this, $1.1 trillion. That is the amount of money the world is now investing in the energy transition every single year. You know, for the first time ever, that number actually matches what we spend on fossil fuels. This scale is it's staggering. Okay, so to really get a grip on the race to win this new economy, we first have to understand the new engine that's being built. And believe me, it's a fundamental change in how our entire economy actually works. And this right here, this is the core of it. We're seeing a huge macroeconomic shift. We're moving from an economy that's been driven for decades by consumption, us buying stuff, to one that's all about investment, actually building the clean infrastructure of tomorrow. I love this analogy because it explains the whole situation perfectly. Think about it. When you renovate a house, yeah, it costs a lot up front, and it's a pain. But you're trading that short-term cost for a home that's way more valuable and efficient in the long run. That's exactly what's happening to the global economy. And the impact is already huge. 10%. That's how much clean energy investment contributed to global GDP growth in 2023. To put that in perspective for you, that's about the size of the entire global aerospace industry. This isn't some niche thing anymore. This is mainstream. So, with that much money flying around, it's probably no surprise that this has turned into a super high-stakes race. We're talking about the world's economic superpowers all battling it out. Let's take a look at who's winning. And this is where it gets really strategic. See, it's not just about who can throw the most money at the problem. It's about who's spending the smartest. And right now, China, the US, and the EU, well, they're all placing very, very different bets on how to win. Let's start with the undisputed leader at the moment. China is just running away with it. They account for 40% of all global spending. That's more than the US, the EU, and the UK combined. But here's the crucial thing. It's not just about the wrong numbers, it's the strategy behind them. So China, they're using massive state subsidies to build unbelievable manufacturing scale. The US is all about tax credits to get people and companies buying American-made. In the EU, they're playing the long game, using their regulatory power to set the standards for the rest of the world. Okay, so we know who's spending the big bucks. But let's follow the money trail and see which sectors are actually soaking up all this capital. Honestly, no huge surprises here. The biggest slices of the investment pie are going to the big three: solar, wind, and of course, the battery storage that's absolutely critical to make them reliable 24/7. But this is where the market starts getting a bit more nuanced and a lot smarter. Look at this. Investment in those massive utility-scale solar projects, it's actually down. Why? Policy risks. Meanwhile, offshore wind is absolutely booming because governments are giving investors the long-term certainty they crave with auctions and contracts. Now, here's a number that reveals a gigantic bottleneck in the system. $600 billion. That's what we need to be investing every single year just to modernize our electric grids. Because without that, all this new green energy has nowhere to go. And this right here points to the next huge investment opportunity. Seriously, grid modernization is the unsung hero of this entire story. Right now, it's massively underfunded, but it is absolutely essential for the whole transition to actually work. Hey, just a quick pause. If you're getting value out of this video, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. It really does help us keep making more content like this. But of course, for every massive opportunity, there's always a risk lurking around the corner. The financial hurdles in this transition are enormous, and that's what we're looking at next. First up, a key term you absolutely need to know: stranded assets. This is basically the financial nightmare for all those legacy energy companies. We're talking about oil fields, pipelines, and coal plants that could become worthless practically overnight because of market shifts or new rules. And the potential value at risk here is astronomical.
we could be looking at up to $14 trillion in fossil fuel assets being stranded by 2036. A shockwave of that size would ripple through the entire global financial system.
The next major risk is all about geopolitics. The clean energy supply chain is incredibly concentrated. China controls the processing of most critical minerals and the manufacturing of most of the tech. That gives them enormous leverage over pretty much everyone else. And finally, there's policy risk. I mean, this divergence just says it all. Political uncertainty in the US caused investment to plummet, while a stable environment in the EU saw it soar. Capital absolutely hates uncertainty. It's as simple as that.
So let's bring it all together. This massive reshuffle is creating a whole new hierarchy of winners and losers. What does this mean for companies? And more importantly, what does it mean for you?
This contrast tells the whole story, really. You have a legacy giant like ExxonMobil basically trying to manage a slow decline. And then you have a renewable leader like NextEra navigating insane growth, but still super vulnerable to those policy shifts we just talked about. They're living in two completely different worlds. So, let's go back to that central question we started with. Burden or boom? Well, the real answer is it's both. It's a costly, incredibly risky rewiring of the entire global economy. But for those who find the right place to plug in, it is, without a doubt, the next great economic boom. If you're liking the content, don't forget to subscribe. It motivates us to keep posting.